beautiful, isn't it?
It's really nice.
You can hold it.
What is it?
It's a puzzle. And it's almost finished.
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
Yo!
This week, we have a special treat. Back by popular demand, it's Tara. How's it going?
It's going great, guys. Thanks for having me.
Of course. This week, we'll be discussing the new horror classic, 2022's Hellraiser, starring that dude
Nobody
from
cares.
ER. I don't know. Anyway.
Some guys, some girls,
Some peeps.
some peeps that you don't give a damn about.
Well, I'm sure they're very nice people. I don't want to totally...
I'm sure they have friends. I'm sure they were birthed by people who love them dearly. It's just not me.
Just not Aaron at the moment. Each week on the podcast that wouldn't die, we discuss guilty pleasures and forgotten classics from the horror and sci-fi genres with a comedic twist, we hope. Goodness gracious me. Hellraiser 2022. Now, I saw ads for this, but I gotta be honest, I wasn't feeling like I was gonna rush out and watch it, even though I could just watch it at home with no extra effort.
100%, because it's another one of those things like, did it need to be remade? Because the original one is sufficient.
But it doesn't feel like a remake. It feels like a sequel to me.
It's reimagined.
It is like Suspiria. We call it ruined.
Yes.
Ruined is what we call it.
Ruined? Interesting.
I'm reimagining all my thoughts and changes to the original one.
Well,
That made this so much worse.
The original was so good.
It was
my God.
good and demented.
Purely demented.
I always have to say, controversial opinion, I'm not a huge Hellraiser fan. Boom.
That is very controversial.
Yeah, you read all his books. Is it because you went too deep into it and then struggled to find your way back?
First of all, I
Are
have not
you
read...
the dude, with the South African dude from the original one with your Rubik's Cube?
Okay. I have to unpack so much of what you said. Number one, I have not read all of his books. I believe I've read one of his books, perhaps. And the actor you're referring to, not South African. I think he's British with a dubbed American accent, but that's neither here nor there. Why would you think he was South African? Just because of apartheid
Because
or what?
It didn't sound British. It sounded British with a twist, which is
Which character are you guys even talking about?
in the original one.
Frank.
Oh, Frank. Yeah.
You know him, don't you?
Well, that was interesting because have you guys rewatched the original recently?
Not in a couple of years.
I think it was the last year I saw it.
Yeah, I rewatched it for the first time in like 2 decades and forgot how truly vile that movie was.
Oh, yeah.
Terrifying.
Did not know that Frank was played by 2 characters. 2 different actors played Frank.
The meat machine and then the
was
actor.
Meat Frank and then Frank, which is really weird.
Frank and
Why
Frank.
would they do that?
Wouldn't that be a great couple's Halloween costume, Frank and Meat Frank?
Frank and Julia, after Julia had just hugged him for the first time with his wet, moist, grody, dripping skin.
Yes, there was too much of them like making out. You know, where he's
just-
all like bloody and gross, and they're like, "Ugh, yeah."
Come to daddy.
Come to daddy. And she's like down with it. There's somebody for everybody.
There's someone for everyone. And okay, that's Coward of the County.
And as we discuss, I am going to morph 1 and 2 of the original because it's been a while and I always get them confused which is the one where he's under the floorboards?
That's the first one.
Oh, well then I'm good. Let's go.
He's not under the floorboards. He's in the attic.
Well, he's under the
Yeah, but he's
floorboards of
under the
attic
floor
sometimes.
and then the blood drips down and
Oh, I see what you, well, yeah. Okay. Got it.
Somehow Frank escaped from the Cenobites, but is just kind of like some goo under the floorboards, and then his brother accidentally gashes his hand to such a degree that you think, oh, you're losing the hand. Obviously, I mean, it was like 6 inches into the hand, he was basically crucified, and splattering blood all over the place. A little Bactine ought to cure that right away, and that brings Frank back to life as some kind of oozy skeletal creature.
Oh no. The first Hellraiser, the original Hellraiser is just boom. It's like, it's so f***ed up. It's like nothing you have ever seen before in the fevered mind of a small British man.
Mm-hmm.
The fevered mind.
Mm-hmm.
No, and I want to say, I don't hate Hellraiser, but people put it, like you guys obviously, put it up on this pedestal as like a masterpiece of modern cinema.
It's a masterpiece of effed upness.
It is. And this, let's face it, the majority of the actors, other than Julia, I found her compelling. The rest of them are all horrible. They're terrible, campy actors. Julia, the English ice cold bitch, is amazing. With her 80s hair and makeup, the clothes, it's just spot on. Spot on.
Fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic all around. But when the Cenobites roll into town, that is the shit. Though I didn't like the one they call Butterball. I thought he was pretty cheesy.
Yeah.
But the of course Pinhead, and the one they call Deep Throat, which is the woman one. Yeah. She's the one that really freaked me out.
I found her, by the way. Yes. I don't know. They just called her like the female Cenobite. They didn't give her a creative name.
I'm just like he wasn't called Pinhead. He was called Priest or something. The names that like kind of they ended up getting was that was her name. Deep Throat.
I've never heard her.
She had a gash right in her throat.
Spent a lot of time on the Reddit deep or the 4chan burrowing deep.
My time on 4chan
on the dark web
with my coffee in the morning.
Exactly.
And we're going off the rails here. Aaron,
truly.
Why don't you give us your 30-second synopsis of the new Hellraiser 2022?
The all-female reimagining. Oh, sweet baby Jesus! I'm just gonna tell you this. Recovering, not recovering, drug addict, alcoholic, is hanging out with her dirty boyfriend. They go rob a place to get money because that sounds like a good idea. But spent all this time busting into warehouse, busting into sea trains, busting into a safe to get like a crazy lock. You can have it if you want, Hong Kong. So she fills it around, immediately kills her brother. I mean, next thing you know, it's the Cinnabons have all come to life. And now it is The Handmaid's Tale, except that it's the Hellraiser Handmaid's Tale. It's a lot of dumbing down and explaining everything that went on in the movie. Yada, yada, yada. Who the cares? There's my 30-second review.
Yeah, it was definitely a dog leg left from the orig. And I didn't see any of the other 10,000 Hellraisers that came after the original one. They all got horrible reviews. So I don't know if they somehow lead to what happened in 2022. No. But since when does the box have a dagger that comes out of it, and that's how it chooses you?
They changed the entire story. Before it was people opening it originally with a plan. It wasn't all of these levels. The mistake for this one is they wanted to explain everything. Oh, if you're doing this, and then there's sacrifice, and you can go to these different levels. I mean, it made it so boring. Frankly, the weird nonsense, and you're really not sure, and is that fair? I never tried to open the goddamn box, but the Cenobites are coming after me. Right. That was better. That was better than let's go, I found a guide. Let's go page by page and how to avoid the Cinnabons. And they all looked the same. They all had this weird kind of round latex blubber face, and that pissed me off. And then the Handmaid's Tale character pissed me off.
See, the Handmaid's Tale character looked to me just like one of the millions of women I see all over the place in their tennis visor. That I was like, oh, there's the
Had
tennis.
like the nun thing.
Yeah, it was weird. She looked like she was hiding from the. Yeah, they weren't very scary.
No, I never felt tense in this movie.
Well, okay, and we're kind of going off on a jag here. Let me just kind of reel it back in here. We all saw this movie for the first and only time, the only way you can, on Hulu. Like when did you guys watch it? I watched it
last night.
I watched it last night as well. Was it last night? 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago I watched it. And I fell asleep. Multiple times.
As you do. You do.
Look, people who listen to this podcast know I'm essentially a narcoleptic. If I start a movie after 7:30, I'm rolling the dice. There's no. I've
Thank
become
you, Dad.
my father, where it's like it's impossible. Can't get through it. Good luck. But
Yep.
I was able to eventually get through it, but like I said, not real high on my list. Now let me say this: I've seen the original Hellraiser countless times.
Countless.
I've seen Hellbound Hellraiser 2 a handful of times.
Yeah.
I've seen Hellraiser 3 Hell on Earth only once, and that was it. I said, and I'm good. No,
I'm not even sure if I saw 3. I can't even remember. What happened in that one?
No,
was there a puzzle and the Cinnabons showed up?
It's a lot of puzzling. No,
I puzzled and puzzled till my puzzler was sore.
It's essentially when Clive Barker was like, deuces, I'm out. That's when we all should have stepped out. You know what I mean? He's the guy.
I really think the fatal flaw in this movie is, like I said, this is a man's kind of sadomasochistic sexual fantasy. This is not a woman thing.
Well, yes, this is important to say. But essentially, the thrust of this movie is there are people on this planet who they've had so much sex that basically regular sex just doesn't do it for them anymore. Now they have to go to like India, Nepal, to try the farthest reaches of the globe to try to find some new way just to get their rocks off.
They've been to Epstein's Island, found it boring. They've been to Mar-a-Lago.
That's exactly correct. That's 100% correct.
They could not be satisfied. But yeah, it's a powerful man fantasy. I got all the money in the world. I've already done everything. What else you got? What else you got?
Right.
What else you got? That's
But this is not a woman's fantasy. I'm sure, God forbid, you sadists out there, lady sadists, lady masochists. I'm sure there's a place for you in this heaven too.
But yeah,
predominantly, this is a man's fantasy.
But the old one was very misogynistic. I was like laughing at myself because back then the stuff they were saying to the female characters and the way they were treating them was just another day. Of men just like being disgusting and vile to women, whether it's their daughter, their niece, whoever. It's just like, rock it out. To this one, where the Cenobites are all clearly women. I mean, at least the ones that you can differentiate anything. They're all very feminized.
Yes.
And now we got to roll in a little addiction because, opioids are, such a topic. It's like they totally went over the top with, let's make this what's going on today.
And some of the makeup was clearly piercing balls with the little steel with the 2 balls on the end. Half the characters look like they just went downtown to the piercing salon, and that's where they did their makeup.
See, that's interesting. I looked at them and I saw those pins, and they look like sewing pins. You know what I mean? Like those
You're not at the high school, my friend.
You know what I'm talking about. You've got
it looks like the tongue balls.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like the pins coming off Pinhead's head. Just look like the kind you'd like, I'm doing some alterations on my skirt or something.
Like the pearl. They look like a pearl, not a nail. Right. Yeah. Like Pinhead was nailed for sure.
Right. He was nailed. So they decided to femme it up and make it sewing needles. Boy, that's very liberating.
Well, I read somewhere that in the original book, it's a novella called The Hellbound Heart.
Right.
And that the Cenobites were essentially turned into kind of neutral, like sexual characters. Like they
Right.
were like had no gender anymore.
This
They'd been
is
so
a
tortured.
sexual fantasy. This is a
Who's-
sexual
you keep
fantasy.
saying that. There's no dudes that I know who are like, ooh, let's watch Hellraiser.
I
You
didn't
gotta-
say it was your D&D crowd, but this is all this exquisite pain and suffering. This is all sexual.
Oh,
For sure.
I'm not disputing that.
And the way they touch the box, come on.
And methinks thou protest too much, sir.
Well, and that's the thing. It's just like you know what? I've been with so many women and men and others. Who's to say that now I have to go
Hamsters,
flirt
guinea
with the
pigs.
demons?
Well, that there was a very famous rock star that they said that had so much excess as far as drugs and sex that the famous parties they would throw, it was like, little people with, trays of cocaine on their head, that they're like any kind of, bestial, like everything. It's like nothing gets me off anymore. Like, yes, bring on the most insane shit ever.
They would like the puzzle box. Dennis Rodman and Kim Jong-un, when they get together, they bust out the puzzle box.
We're
And
going
the
off the
cinema
rails. Good
slide.
lord.
Yeah. I think that they needed to go back to Hellraiser 1 and fine tweak it, make it a little more, more interesting, a little more, modern. But I think Aaron's right in that, the main actress, the addict, who actually I liked. I thought she was kind of compelling. She was different looking.
Yeah.
So I kind of enjoyed her vibe, was kind of cool. But the rest was just malark. And I did like the weird guy, the rich guy, Voight, that actor. He looked damn good. I know he's older than hell. Has anyone got any idea how
Who
old?
the hell he is?
I've seen him in a million things.
He used to be on ER back in like the late 90s.
Oh, okay, because he looks fantastic.
Yeah. He's
Well,
a
now
good
you
guy.
know
He's a
why.
Serbian actor. His name's Goran Visnich.
Oh! I totally know. I used to think he was so hot. I sat and watched this. It did not connect. You're right. He
Yeah.
is.
So he's
Yeah.
available.
And
Yeah.
the movie starts in Serbia.
Well, and it's entirely filmed in Serbia.
Oh, they filmed the whole thing in Serbia? Oh, interesting.
There you go. Easy peasy.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we let's jump right in to the highlights. We can go round robin style. What do you guys got? Who wants to start?
Trevor, the jackass boyfriend. Already there was a red flag.
Absolutely.
He's a low-life drug dealer, but he's living in a place better than mine and has no income, and let's go rob a sea train.
Well, and why did she say, like, oh, he's newly sober? Why? I mean, was he just one of those horrible people I hear about that goes to meetings to take advantage of people there? Is that his deal?
Is it Fight Club? He just wanted to feel something.
Yeah.
I'm telling
All
you.
the
he was
12
paid.
steps.
He was paid to do that.
So he went to like a meeting to find her and knowing that she was weak and could be manipulated. I mean, that's terrible.
That's what he
So
was
it
doing.
could have been anybody or to find her. Why
It could have been
her?
anybody. Any-
They don't tell us. They don't tell us. And all we know is she lies to her brother at the beginning and says he's got a couple months sobriety, and he's like, but you've got 8. You need to be careful. And then the next scene, she's like drinking and smoking weed. So I don't know.
I have one fight, and now it's all boop.
That was it. Well, you don't. I mean,
She may not have been sober the entire time. Who the hell knows?
That's right.
Yeah.
There was a moment where she kind of poured out the pills.
But the fact that she had a bottle of pills tells me she's not 8 months sober.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true. That's fair. No, but I'll tell you what. I sussed out, even half asleep, I knew that Trevor was up to no good.
From
Of
your waking
course.
coma, you rose up and said, "That boy ain't right."
That's what I said. I mean, it was very clear to me when they were at the spooky mansion, where it's a lot of go right. No, we're supposed to go left. Those kind of things where he's deliberately driving them. I'm like, interesting. And his half-ass attempt to rescue Nora behind the wall. Oh, Nora, you in there? You knew he was up to no good. He's a bad dude.
He's
Yes.
a bad dude, that's for damn sure.
Yep.
But okay, well, let me say this: at the beginning of the movie, there was the scene where they're having sex loud enough for all their neighbors to hear,
Oy.
and he drops an "I love you" on her, and she immediately goes like, "Whoa, easy, Tiger, get your pants back on. We're done for the night."
She shut that shit down.
But that's my thing. Was that sincere or was that bullshit?
Anything out of his mouth was a manipulation to get her to do what he needed her to do so he could have whatever he was trying to get, which we don't know what it was.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he knew he was picking a mark to be sacrificed for death. So,
yes.
I lean towards Aaron that he's just a piece of shit.
I agree. I think there's no other answer. I mean, you could say he's a nice enough guy, but he knew, like at the end of the movie, there's the buddy. What was the guy's name? The one surviving friend. I don't know.
Her brother's lover.
Her brother's lover, who's like been marked for the Cenobites, and he was basically following her and go, "Hey, bro, where are you going? It's all over. Come on, guy."
They're coming for you, bro. Just lean into it.
Lean into it. Just chill out, relax.
Basically,
it's all bad. It's not bad.
He's like, I got bit by Chatterer. It's okay.
It's like
I had worse.
Chatterer. Oh my god.
That's what his name. Yes, Chatterer, and that was the only one that looked like. I mean, other than Pinhead, that was the one that looked like the one from the original Hellraiser.
Right.
Kind of, yeah. Terrible.
I found it irritating that she was able to stab one of them, and then he's taken away. Taken away for who? He's already there. I thought that was stupid.
It was so and that's the thing.
And why couldn't the Cenobites get through wrought iron? They're traveling dimensions and time.
Yes, I have questions about both those things. Number one, I like the idea in these Hellraiser movies where you're kind of such a sexual deviant. You're like, I've got to master this puzzle box to unlock the sexual secrets of the demonic universe, right? Rather than, whoops, I stubbed my toe on this box on the floor. I guess I'm marked for death now.
Right.
I didn't like that. I didn't like where it's literally, because then it's like, why the plan of like tricking somebody? Why not just walk down the street and just start poking people?
Exactly.
Totally.
You know what
exactly.
I mean? If it doesn't matter.
Yeah, why do this elaborate plan and bring her that you're breaking in and why not just go get the box and, like you said, get a couple people really ripped and just start stabbing them?
Why not? Well, obviously Trevor's too stupid because you have to work the Rubik's Cube at the same time that avoiding the knife that's about to pop out. Yes. And why would you think junkies and alcoholics have the sharp mind and dexterity and puzzle sense going on there?
Well, maybe he feels that they're expendable people. Just as a whole, that they're, losers and,
I'm just going to tell you, I have never solved the Rubik's Cube.
Right. You would think that solving this puzzle box should be kind of difficult.
Shouldn't he be loving up against mathematicians or something? And then hitting them with the thing? Or go to a university lab hitting people with that? Like, smart people should be doing this. Not people that are about ready to sleep in their car.
Well, like, honestly, if you just drop it on the floor and it immediately starts opening, that's too much. I mean, that's too easy. That's way too easy. It should be some kind of forbidden secret knowledge, not just some shit you stumble into. Whoa, I guess I'm figuring out the secret box already. I know.
Well, and that was inconsistent. Yeah. Sometimes the box just goes on its own. Sometimes she had to grab it and manipulate it, and it was just Yeah, it was kind of a mess.
It was pure malark. I guess it's like when I tried out for Jeopardy in college and none of the college kids could actually pass the adult test, so they started giving us the kids one. Maybe over time the Cenobites had to start dumbing up the cube. Because otherwise it was like nobody was going beyond the square. And then they just give up and throw it over their shoulders and away they went.
Yeah, yeah.
The other thing that you mentioned, which I absolutely agree with, is the fact that if I close the door, the Cenobites can't get in. If I lock the gate, so that's all it takes. I thought these dudes were like opening up, like the wall opens up from like the depths. No, just lock that gate.
Yeah, why don't you just lure them all in and just lock the gate and go on with your life?
Go on with your life.
Yeah, just set traps everywhere that'll stab them and do whatever. I mean, I don't know. Can they only die by the stab of the Rubik's Cube?
We don't
or
know.
Can things kill them? I thought that was kind of shocking.
Right.
Was it? Oh no, it wasn't. Was it Chatterer that got killed? It was.
It was.
Yeah. Like who knew?
Kind of leaned back into it. He's like, "All right, you got me."
Yeah, Chatterer's all. Oh.
He wasn't like, what the hell? We're on the same team. No, not so much. And the one homie got like stuck in the door or whatever. Yeah. He's just like flopping around like an old trout.
He crawled out between his legs.
Ridiculous.
That was so dumb. And she wasn't even concerned about it. She's just yelling from the cage. I can't help you.
Sorry. Good luck.
And really, these people's interpretation of fun and games is different than ours. So why would you ever trust that you're going to like whatever you win? I mean, clearly this is like a monkey paw situation. You're like, well, so and you don't get a second one.
You're right.
Yeah.
The original movie, clearly didn't. Frank in the beginning, he's like trying to solve the puzzle box. There's no like warning as to what's going to come when he opens the box, right?
It seemed like he was in the occult and knew something.
He searched the world for this.
Yes.
Right, but and that's the thing. It's like if you take one look at the Cenobites, you know you don't want what they're selling, right?
No way.
You don't. I mean, the idea you'd be somehow taken aback. Whoa, this didn't work out the way I anticipated. That's ridiculous. Look at them.
Yeah.
They're mutilated freaks. You don't want that.
You don't want that.
What up with that?
What's up with that? True.
So,
True.
This is
You could be like a Cenobite with the Adidas tracksuit on. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Poor Jason Sudeikis.
Oh, Sudeikis is just fine. Just fine, I say.
One thing that I found that's kind of interesting about both this movie and the original is that in some ways, the Cenobites are not the main villains of the movie. Right?
No, the people are.
There's some dude who's acquired forbidden knowledge and is now like, I've got to murder some people in order to, get myself free from the Cenobites. It's always a regular dude or, dude equivalent, basically. He's got a weird thing in his chest, and the homie in the first movie is a skeleton, so I don't know.
Well, I wouldn't say he's a regular dude. He's not exactly regular.
No.
Well, you know what I mean. It's like he's not a Cenobite.
He's not a Cenobite.
He's human.
But he's rocking the eyes wide shut party.
It's Fidelio.
There's orgies going on. You know, it's all bad. It's human sacrifice. It's dogs and cats living together.
Mass hysteria.
Mass hysteria.
It's absolutely true. So I think we can all agree we don't like the idea of the little spiky thing that pokes out of the pleasure box.
No.
Can I just interject?
Please.
I rewound this scene and watched it a couple times and could not figure out what the hell was going on. When the Cenobites come, I think they come to take the attorney or Voight's, personal assistant, whatever that woman was who was on oxygen and living in the thing.
Yeah.
And the Cenobites come and Pinhead pulls like a feather or something out of the face of the chat. Is it the chatterer? Or something, and then takes that and then puts that inside of the mouth of the victim. What the hell was that?
I noticed that as well, and I have like no idea. I have no answers for you.
It pulled something out of the eye, and it looked like
something, right? Maybe
it looked like a feather, or it was the strangest thing. Okay, well, that's a gooch, because I could not figure out what the hell it was. I rewound it, and then half the time I couldn't understand what the Cenobites were saying, because their voices were so digitally altered that I'm like, what the hell are they saying?
Subtitles.
There were many times I had to turn off all the lights. I was watching in my bedroom because it was so dark that I couldn't see what was going on. So I had to turn off all the lights. So it was like Poltergeist at my house. Lights on, lights off.
Yeah.
Just like Poltergeist. There was that scene where Pinhead pulls like a pin out of her head and sticks it into the woman's neck.
Yes, that was awesome.
Right into her voice box, and you see the interior of her throat with the thing popping through, going all the way. I'm like, interesting.
Yeah, while she's screaming.
Yes. Like, was it changing the pitch of her screams or something?
It was crazy.
Not much, but that's what I thought that was supposed to be doing, because it was like, what did she want? She wanted to be with God or something. And it was something that sing for Jesus, one sound heard for all eternity.
Yeah,
and she's like, oh, yeah.
It was it. No, it was. You wonder. I think in the books they talk about if you play with the Rubik's Cube, the Cenobites come and get you and essentially torture you for all eternity.
Because you're calling them.
Because you're calling them. And because they are beyond the separation between pleasure and pain. To them, it's all the same thing. That's right. That's the gooch. So are we to think that like her brother and Nora and Trevor and the attorney are just off being tortured forever now?
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
that's kind of what they say. Yes. Like, now you're off on a journey for all the time. What is the infamous line? We have such sights to show you.
I've traveled oceans of time.
I've crossed oceans of time to find you.
But the sister, whatever her name is, Riley, just is like, no, my brother's gone. I can't. I'm going to leave him where he's at. So I don't think
herself off the hook there, doesn't she?
Well, yeah, she didn't ask too many questions. But what was interesting, when she first went to the house, she thought she heard her brother calling her, goes up and hugs him, remember? And then she sees that he's a skin filleted skeleton. That's, or, not skeleton, but, has no skin.
Right.
And he's like, bring me back. And that was the nod to Hellraiser 1, I think, the most obvious one, where that maybe would have been what Resurrection was.
Well, I think the problem is, like the monkey paw, you bring them back, that's what you're bringing back.
Yes. Like, is she going to have to do what Julia did to bring Frank all, and I don't know that Frank ever made it all the way back before he got the axe.
And he was definitely affected by the change.
Okay.
You care to elaborate?
He was already a weirdo, and now he's just down for murder or whatever it takes. He was much worse.
Well,
it's not like it's like the monkey paw. I wish my son was alive. So he crawls himself out of the grave, screaming because he's been in a terrible accident and with goo coming out, and is dragging himself to the.
I don't remember all these.
It's very Pet Cemetery kind of vibe. You don't know what you're getting yourself into there.
Sometimes.
Well, and that's what what's his name Voight said when he was like yelling at Riley. It's all a trick. Everything the Cenobites promise you, it's bullshit. It's a trick. He's the one that warns her. Right. Don't go down this path. But he was more than willing to go. Ooh, I can exchange my gift. Cool. I'll take power. And speaking of which, why would he ever take sensation? If the Cenobites are coming at you and you're looking at the list, knowledge, love, power, whatever, are you going to look at them and go, oh yeah, I'm down for sensation? Like, that's what I choose?
No.
No.
Never. So
Maybe if you hadn't seen them, but you're having a conversation with Pinhead and you're like, bring it? And they're like,
No,
oh,
it's ridiculous.
He thought
Just
he was
you
going
wait.
to have a 30-year orgasm. He was rocking his little Aleister Crowley sex dungeon with the disco ball in the Senate. He figured it was just going to be a little bit deeper than that. Wrongo. But he got what he got. Oh, I want power. Boom, you're a Cenobite.
Which you figure that that's a thing, right?
Of course.
That, these were originally humans who...
Who've been neutered. You see that with him.
Wrongly.
They're sexless.
Yeah, they're kind of sexless, which you wish they were more androgynous. That's another thing that really bugged me about this is they were so feminized, which nothing against it, but these creatures are far creepier when you don't know what the hell they are.
And
in my
opinion,
opinion.
they use like the same mold. Like girl Pinhead had the same face as girl Handmaid's Tale. In the original one, you weren't going to confuse two. There were none that looked like brothers and sisters.
Well, to me, when I looked up the cast, every single one of them just looked like themselves as a Cenobite. I mean, obviously, other than Chatterer, you see none of his face, but the two women Cenobites look exactly the same. They really didn't it wasn't shocking. To me, the female in the first one was so androgynous and obviously a woman, but creepily androgynous, like so weird that it freaked me out completely.
Let me throw this out at you.
Or do it.
The individual who plays Pinhead is actually a trans woman.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
And really beautiful, but you can tell when you look at this 2022 Pinhead that she's like perfectly symmetrical, like beautiful face, completely feminine. I don't know. I felt like the voices, they should have made them more creepy.
I mean, I guess what it comes down to is I didn't find the Cenobites frightening to me, but I kind of I preferred the idea where they're not chasing you like a monster. You know what I mean? They're
Come
not
back
like a
here,
zombie.
you kid! I'm going to get you.
Right, because it's much more like there's nowhere to run, so I don't have to chase you. You're in my crazy, hellscape.
Unless there's wrought iron involved, and then it's very terrifying.
I can do. My only weakness.
That's right.
Yeah, that was really an odd choice. That he just, created this, prison around this massive mansion that he could lock out the Cenobites. Was odd.
Well,
yeah.
And Cenobite I thought that was a word that Clive Barker made up. It's not, it's a real word. It means
what does it mean?
It's like a religious acolyte.
I'll tell you what it means.
Go ahead.
I looked it up. Bear with me. It's Latin. Give me a minute. Carry on, y'all.
Carry on.
The beginning, when they were getting the box in Serbia, didn't that harken back to like the Exorcist and the Omen?
Yeah, a little bit.
In what way?
You're off in this desert, there's an exchange, someone has found something, they've come with a suitcase, and then snap, you're back into...
In the Valley of Jezreel?
Jezreel.
Okay, so it's Latin for common life. Is what Cenobite means.
Really? I could have sworn it meant kind of like like a monk or something as a Cenobite.
Well, what does common life mean? What does it mean by common?
That's just the word. It might have a deeper meaning. But there was something I think that Clive Barker did talk about some religion. And speaking of religion, you guys watched a couple of the other Hellraisers.
Yeah.
They said the female Cenobite was actually in her human form, like a nun who was like, banging everybody all around until she ended up becoming a Cenobite. That's her backstory,
It's like the
which I thought was insane.
The definition of a word Cenobite is a member of a religious group living together in a monastic community, such as a nun or a monk.
Because I was wondering what common meant. I thought maybe it had a different
Uncommon.
meaning.
Yeah, could be. Could be.
Because, after they made the change from BC AD to Common Era, so what does common mean there?
Yeah. Don't know.
Who's to say? Do you guys want to go behind the scenes?
Absolutely.
Wait, let me review. Piercings, Trevor's Place is nice, Everything Sucks, Cinnabons, Handmaid's Tale. Yeah, I'm ready.
You see Handmaid's Tale. I see Sally Field as the flying nun.
Well, yeah, that's it. It's a red gown with a white nun top.
Okay, behind the scenes. Doug Bradley, who originated the role of Pinhead, had this to say about Jamie Clayton's take in a Twitter post. I'm a bit blown away by this. The clever redesign of the makeup, the shimmer of the pinheads, the palette, whatever that keyhole locket tracheotomy thing is at the throat. It's simple, subtle, disturbing, and sexy. Everything it should be.
See?
Peace and pain, Doug.
Men always want to put their dick somewhere.
What was his last statement? Peace and pain, what?
Doug. His name's Doug.
Oh.
So he signed it.
Peace and pain.
Good times.
That's how I'm going to sign off everything from now on.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, to me that just screams, hey, remember me?
Well, they asked him to play a cameo, and he turned it down. He figured it would be better to not have him there as kind of a reference. It'd be better to be like a separate.
Because he's super busy. Is he on Broadway?
He's got nothing but time, evidently.
Yeah, I think it's kind of daring to bring back Pinhead, reimagined. You know what I mean? He's such an icon. I don't know if that was a good choice. Though I think the gal who did it was fine. It just wasn't in my vision of what it should be.
Who played Riley was really good. It's just that she was in a stinky movie.
I don't think you could do a Hellraiser movie and not have a Pinhead in it. Truly. I think that's... that's like having a Halloween movie without Michael Myers. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is a classic, though. Let me tell you.
I knew you were leading back to that.
It's always got to come back to that. Let me tell you.
How many days till Halloween, Kevin?
6 more days till Halloween. Halloween. Anyway, it's more than 6 days. I'm not doing that. No, but I think you had to have that character. But I think it's what's interesting is he's never referred to as Pinhead in the book or in the original movies.
Right.
Hell Priest or, lead Cenobite.
These are like fan names. These are
It's a fan name. Exactly.
Right.
And you could see why. I mean, Pinhead, the name Pinhead is not very dignified. You know what I mean? It's kind of goofy.
Right.
And strange.
It has a different connotation.
Yeah, but they literally called the other one Butterball Cenobite. There's Chatterer and Butterball. And then the other one, I think they call him Priest and Female.
Right.
But Butterball? That's his God-given name.
I don't know about God-given.
Now, Kevin, in the novels, how different is it from the original movie?
I have not read it. I read the summary of it on Wikipedia, so take that with a grain of salt. The plot is basically the same. I think the one difference between the original movie, and the original story is that it's not the main character's not the daughter. She's actually like a female co-worker of the husband who has a crush on him. So she's the one who sniffs out the fact that his wife's having the affair with the brother and all that stuff.
All right.
So I don't know why they made the change. Clive Barker was the one in charge of Hellraiser, so he made the change. I wonder why, what the motivation was. We may never know the answers to these questions. Who's to say? Let's see. Jamie Clayton could barely move while in costume as Pinhead, as it was very heavy and tight on her body.
I bet. I bet.
And that was a choice they made also. In the original movie, they were all wearing kind of leather or nylon, or not nylon, vinyl dusters, essentially, right? This
It was very S&M, you know.
very
It was all
S&M.
very bondage and
Yeah.
Well, and Clive Barker said he got the idea from visiting gay S&M clubs in London. That's where the idea came from.
often.
Often. He was a regular. He'd walk in there like Norm from Cheers.
Clive!
Pretty much. But they felt like nowadays you can see people wearing vinyl dusters all the time just walking down the street. So that's why they thought they wanted to up the ante, where now it's just naked bodies. Like their clothes is just their flesh, essentially.
Right. Their skin peeled back in different hidden formations.
Origami.
Yeah.
Different origami. Well, and that's another reason why it can't be they're physically intimidating, like I'm chasing you, because their skin is all stretched and stapled. That they're not spry. They can't chase after you. You saw what happened to them getting stuck in the door.
They can do that thing where they move like the vampires without moving their legs, or they can just appear. They're coming from another dimension. Can they just pop through whatever effing wormhole they're using? Bing! Here I am.
Well, and that's the thing we were talking about, where it's like it somehow robs them of their power if they have to physically chase you. You're not going to get away from me, kind of thing, rather than just kind of appearing. That's more creepy to me.
Yeah, I agree. Them just kind of floating and, dragging out that horrible feeling is much more effective.
Exactly. We have such sights to show you as an homage quote to the original Hellraiser film.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
The 6 configurations of the box represent its 6 gifts. Do you guys remember what the 6 gifts were?
I wrote it down.
Well, that's cheating.
It was love, lamentation, a couple of words I never heard in my life. Leviathan.
Right. Some of these, you could tell they were struggling with some of these. They're all supposed to be L words for some reason. Lament, if you choose lament, that just means you live.
Lethargy.
Letharia.
Laziness.
Yes. That's correct.
Lion.
Lepers.
Lepers.
Yes.
What else?
That's correct. You're 6 for 6. Lament is life. Lore is knowledge. Laudurant, which is not a word I'm familiar with, means love. Liminal, which is another word I'm not familiar with, means sensation, and that's what the evil billionaire chose. Strangely. Why would you do that? Come on.
Yeah.
Lazarus meant resurrection,
Right.
which I guess that was supposed to be the thing that she was working for to get her brother resurrected. And the last one was called Leviathan, which was power. Now, that word actually lends itself to the original movies. Like the main demonic force behind the Cenobites is Leviathan.
Are they inherently evil? Are they evil? Are they demons?
I think they're demons.
Or are they like aliens almost?
Well, that's kind of an H.P. Lovecraft kind of question, right? It's like creatures from outer space that are so alien that our minds cannot fully comprehend them.
Well, this is what they say the Cenobites are. A type of extra-dimensional humanoid researching the boundaries of the human nervous system.
Ooh.
That's what their deal is supposed to be.
Oh, it's like that movie that they shrink you down and inject you into the bloodstream. Except they're Cenobites.
Are you talking about Inner Space or Fantastic Voyage?
Both.
Or neither.
Yes, to answer your question. If they were injecting Cenobites inside of you.
Lovely.
Which still sounds like Cenobites.
I think, that they're working for Leviathan. They're, lost their humanity. So I think they're kind of neutral overall just because they have no humanity left, but they're certainly working for the dark side.
So in D&D, would you say chaotic neutral?
I don't know what D&D. Dungeon and Dragon?
Let's go to our dungeon
You
map.
know what D&D is. Come on.
I mean, I don't know what that means in reference. Like, is that I'm not a D&D person. I don't know what the hell that means. Come on now.
Yes, it's Dungeons and Dragons. Anywho, no, I don't think
Kevin, chaotic neutral, chaotic evil.
No, I think they're lawful evil.
Ooh.
Because there's
they follow
clearly
rules.
They have rules. There's a society. There's rules. There's an ethic that they follow, right?
Right.
But that's the thing. They're not coming to your house and grabbing you if you're not
You're
opening
knocking
up
on
the
their
box.
door.
Right. If you're knocking on their door, then they'll get you. And I honestly don't think that they think that they're tricking anybody. I just think that their kind of conception of what it is people want is wrong.
It's different.
You're right.
So here's the mistake. We are, by saying they're lawful evil, putting our bias on them. I'm feeling some implicit bias there, Kevin.
That is correct.
And in exchange, they're doing the same to us.
That is correct.
It's all about communication.
All cultures have value.
That's right.
That's right. It's very
Even the Cinnabon culture.
The Cinnabons can meet the Borg, and they live happily ever after.
It's all good. It's all good in the hood. Shall we talk about the cast?
I thought we already did.
We kind of did. Not really. I think my phone just crapped out. Here we go. See, I do the. I could have.
I only
stuff
put
printed out
one
and
page
highlighted.
of notes. Did you say Highlander?
I said I could have all these things, all my notes highlighted and collated. I do not.
Mine's in a lovely. I'm on my second notebook. This one's pink this time.
That's beautiful.
Lovely.
It matches the hue of a Cenobite's skin.
That's right.
Odessa Azion, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that, played Riley.
Is that an Irish name?
Could be. You know her from Hellraiser, Conception, The Inhabitant, Am I Okay? You know him, don't you?
You are not okay, sweetie.
Good hair, though. I loved her hairdo.
Jamie Clayton played the priest, or Pinhead. You know her from Hellraiser, The L Word, Designated Survivor, and Sense8.
No.
Huh.
There you go. Let's see. Adam Faison played Colin. You know him from what is this? Everything's Gonna Be Okay.
No.
Which one was Colin?
That was
The lover or the brother?
That was the lover. That was the
Okay.
lover.
He did not look like a Colin.
He was in Grace and Frankie. He was.
He was?
Yeah,
I love Grace and Frankie.
It's a great show. He was Bob of Grace and Frankie. He was on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'm sure
Let's
you
see.
saw that, Kevin.
I did. I haven't finished it yet, or ever. Drew Starkey played Trevor. You know him from Love, Simon,
No.
The Hate You Give, Outer
Okay.
Banks,
No.
and Mine 9.
No.
Anything's ringing any bells for you guys?
No.
I'm familiar with the book, The Hate You Give, but I didn't actually read it.
Brandon Flynn played Matt. That's the brother. He was in Hellraiser. 13 Reasons Why on Netflix.
Oh.
True Detective
Oh,
and
okay.
Looks That Kill.
So
How many more of these guys you want me to do? I'm going to scroll
they're
down.
all completely.
You got to do Voight.
Voight.
Voight was played by Goran Visnic,
Yes.
which I'm
Yeah.
sure I've jacked up his name. He's a Croatian-American actor. You know him from The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. He was Luka Kovac on ER from 99
I
to
love
2008.
that name, Luca.
He was in Beginners.
No.
He was in Elektra. Many
No.
other things.
Yeah, I've seen him in a lot of things. I just can't think of what they are.
Yeah.
Does it show how old he is, Kevin?
He is 3 years older than me.
Oh my God, he's a
God.
baby. How is that? I am old as hell.
It's hard. It's a hard life. being
I thought
so
Home
bad.
Slice was like knocking on 60, and that's why I was so impressed with how good he looks.
Well, it's because he was already gray in ER. He already had like the little silver flecks.
Now,
That
whatever
happens.
he's got going, it's working.
Shall we talk about the rating?
Oh, please.
Hellraiser 2022 currently has 66% fresh, technically. Audience score? What do you guys
It's a
think
D.
the audience
D for
score is?
diploma, we say at the high school.
What do you think the audience score is, Aaron?
71.
Ooh, that's generous. I'm giving it a high 50.
It is 61% audience score.
Boom! Did it again.
That's not what you said.
I did it again.
It is now.
Oh my God. We split the difference on that one.
Beautiful. Let me see if there's any top critics that I recognize.
Did Clive Barker chime in on this? Oh, the humanity.
Oh.
My beautiful masterpiece.
You ruined it.
Ruined. Beyond recognition.
He's going to show up in a cube, chattering his teeth at you.
Simon Adams of RogerEbert.com said, this Hellraiser evokes Barker's original adaptation in the
No, it doesn't.
In the same way, a good cover song recalls its source material. with
Bullshit.
Oh my God.
intelligence,
I'm so tired of these reviewers that just blow smoke.
and an inevitably crushing sort of redundancy.
Exactly. They say all these sweet things. It's so flowery. And then they're like, 1 out of 5. Keep trying, little guy. You'll make it one of these days.
He gave it 2.5 out of 4. Let me see if I can find one more.
That's generous.
Megan Navarro of Bloody Disgusting says, Hellraiser infuses enough style and world building with a mesmerizing new Hell Priest to ensure we're ready to sign up for whatever other sites Bruckner has to show us next.
Oh my God. Bruckner.
Come on.
Oh my God. First of all, these are obviously paid reviews.
Totally.
Paid reviews.
This is ridiculous. Now, here's my question.
Please.
We're going to do a round robin. So, if you were a Cenobite, what would your Cenobite look like? Kevin, go.
I don't know. Just a dude on a couch somewhere.
The couch. Well, like taking a nap.
I mean, I don't know what you want me to say.
His turtleneck is too tight, and that's why.
I do like a good turtleneck. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe that's part of the deal. Well, what do you say? What's your Cenobite?
My Cenobite, if I was a Cenobite, there's a good question. I assume that they will take my underarms and make them into some kind of wing contraption or something horrible like that.
That's correct.
Your armpit would be a wing?
No, my
gobble?
what is it? My gobble, my arm gobble.
Oh!
Actually, I think they did something like that in the Hannibal series. And I could fly away. That's how I come after you.
Oh, boy. Hey, can we talk about for a minute? I'm getting off of this horrible question.
Because it's just your turn.
Okay, when Voight and what's his first name?
John.
John Voight.
It's John Voight. When John Voight has the, music box or whatever that is shoved through his chest, it's finally released.
Yes.
And his chest mends and, finally, oh, thank God, and he's chosen power. Did you love how the minute it mended, that a huge hook came and went right through the freshly mended chest and ripped him right up?
That was it. Ball game.
It was like, okay, we watched it all get fixed together, and don't you feel relief? Oh, no, you don't. Here comes a huge rusty chain straight through.
Okay, it's a life lesson. If someone gives you a gift, you go exchange it on the sly. You don't call to order, complain about your gift, don't want it, it's a terrible gift, go to hell, I want you to exchange it for me. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's what he gets for choosing sensation.
So, Aaron, what is your rating?
Oh my God. I am going to give it 2 Chomper Cenobites biting my ass out of 5.
Beautiful. Tara, what do you got?
I'm going to give it, out of 5 chest accordions, I'll give it 3.
I thought you were gonna say like chesticles, like testicles or something.
No,
What? Did I miss that?
there are no testicles, clearly.
Oh, sweet Jesus. I'm going to give it 2.5 weird dudes getting stuck in the gate with their face getting pulled off. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it.
It was slow.
It was slow. It was kind of unnecessary, I guess is the best way I can describe it.
I just found all their attempts to clarify everything and dumb everything down and explain everything over and over and over again insulting and boring.
There you go.
Yeah. I thought, the first, incarnation, the original movie, I think if they were going to, remake it, they should have stuck a lot closer to the script, to the original.
Fair enough. But if you're just going to do that, then why even remake it?
Because you can make it modern.
You can go back to like what he did before, do more backstories before
For
he
sure.
found the cube, weird shit like that. Because he was like this traveler.
Right.
I mean, what started all of this? It could have been a thing. Because didn't they do that about Pinhead? Wasn't there a whole movie about how
Yeah.
I think so.
Pinhead?
Yeah, they talked about the backstory on the two. I guess I didn't see him, but I read
maybe
that they
that's
did.
what I'm thinking about. The British guy. Were
Doug
they both
Bradley.
British in both movies?
They're all pretty much British, except as always.
Except when they're Serbian.
Well, and that's if you watch that movie, it's like the entire cast is British, except there's like the American father and his American daughter who just happen to live there as well with no explanation. Don't ask no questions. Sweet
I will
Jesus.
tell you, I was in a concert in London where they said, one thing about London that never changes is the sheer number of Americans here.
That didn't sound like a positive.
No.
Positive.
No.
Thank you, Joe Jackson.
Joe Jackson. Is she really going out with him?
No. Yeah.
So, thank you very much. Go to our page on Twitter at TPodcastTWDie. Go to our page on Facebook at The Podcast That Wouldn't Die. Aaron, are we on Instagram?
We are on the IG. We are the podcast that would not die. I'm sorry, that's not correct. It's the podcast that wouldn't die.
That's correct. It's contraction. Are we on TikTok?
We are Ticker Talkers. I just posted right this second. So we are the podcast that wouldn't die on TikTok. TikTok, y'all.
So check that out for all your crazy Aaron video needs.
It's all Aaron all the time.
For sure.
Nice.
And weird filters. Get ready. Prepare yourself. Much like the
Always
Cenobite.
a filter.
The Cenobite filter.
Damn it, TikTok, where is the Cenobite filter?
What?
You got goddamn almost every other filter they could be.
You can email us at podcast that wouldn't die at
Gmail.
We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the finer podcasts are available. So don't forget to like, share, rate, and review, won't you?
Good
Aaron,
vibes only, brothers and sisters. Good vibes only.
Good vibes. I'm picking up.
I'll send a Cenobite to you with your 1-star review.
Absolutely. Now, are you on social media just in a personal capacity, Aaron?
I am. I have so much media. I'm on the Insta. I am the Cult of Aaron. Join the cult. I am Don't Feed the Pigeon. I am on the Twitsker, as we said. I'm on TikTok. I am the voice of the podcast that wouldn't die. So it's all the same. I'll ramble on personal information while I'm promoting our podcast there. And then you got a little extra of that Biden money. Head on over to First Dibs and what's the other thing I'm on? Artsy. Aaron Doherty. Buy some stuff.
That's a lot of stuff.
Mommy needs a Gucci bag.
I guess. Good Lord. Now, Tara, you are on social media, but would rather not share it with anybody.
Tasha
That is
Marie,
correct.
Are you incognito?
I am incognito.
Are you like Dick Cheney, where you had Google erase your existence of your house? It's just a brown square where you live.
Exactly. Dick Cheney did it for me.
Well, you don't want the Cenobites knocking on your door.
That's right.
The
I'm keeping it on
Cenobites
the.
are not using the Google. They're clearly using Apple Maps.
Okay, can I throw this in?
Please.
I'm looking up Gorin, and where I remember him from is Practical Magic.
Oh yeah, he was the bad boyfriend.
He was the bad, evil boyfriend. That's where I know him from.
He was a hottie boobalati.
With
So I
the-
guess he was 20 when he was on these.
I don't know. I'm suspecting that Kevin got his birth year wrong.
Look it up. It says
Kevin's making stuff.
1972.
And Tom Cruise is really 6 feet tall.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I have to look this up. Just verify.
Lies, yeah.
Because I mean, here's the thing. Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman are my age.
Right.
They're like 54, 55. They're right around there. So you're telling me he was that much younger than them?
He was only 19 when they filmed that.
September 9th, 1972.
Yeah, so he's older than you, K-Dog.
3 years older than me. That's what I said.
3 year. Oh, you said 3 years older. I'm sorry.
We weren't
Still,
listening.
that's shocking. So he's younger than both of them by a few.
Yeah, because he was Salt and Pepper when he was young, I think. He was like the, whatever his name, Matt LeBlanc. Remember, he was great in Friends and had to dye his hair?
Yep.
Oh, you mean in real life he was gray?
Yeah,
He was
in
not
real
gray
life.
1 second he was on.
Yeah. No, his hair was like completely white.
They could have done like a Portrait of Dorian Gray situation where all of a sudden Matt LeBlanc creeps out with his white hair.
Yes, they could have.
Like Andy Warhol's Frankenstein.
Exactly.
Or Dracula.
That's what they did. No question. Next week, Eric, we talked about doing Martin by George Romero, but he seemingly is unavailable, so I'm making a command
damn it.
decision.
Again.
I
I will go and see if there's not another Andy Warhol movie out there. Warhol. Remember we used to make fun of Mom, but it's actually Warhol. It's true.
There's no Warhol. Since that's unavailable, we're going to be doing the Lucio Fulci classic Zombie. Woohoo!
Trigger. It should have been a trigger warning.
Trigger warning.
Do you wanna call our sister Megan and see if she wants to join us for that?
She would love to talk about Zombie. Zombie. You can watch it on Shudder and other places if you don't have Shudder. So good times. Enjoy. Send in any favorite scenes, favorite quotes, comments, questions, and we may talk about it on the show.
Particularly, what part of Zombie where you actually just threw up your dinner? Tell us that. I want to pinpoint it.
Ugh.
You will not. There will be no throwing up your dinner. I promise you. But yeah, do not have a full meal before we watch Zombie.
I already feel anxiety.
As you should.
I'm throwing the rubber poop at the monitor. It is going right to you, Kevin.
It's an audio medium, so that's good. So, thank you very much, and be well.
Be well, my children. Don't let the Cinnabon spike.
We have such sights to show you.